Good morning, and welcome to the Courtauld and to this conference, Art Institutions and Race in the Atlantic World, 1750 to 1850. My name's David Peters Corbett, and I run the Centre for American Art here at the Courtauld. The Centre is funded by the Courtauld and through a generous grant to support core activity from the Terra Foundation for American Art. The Centre for American Art exists to support research and teaching in the field, American art being defined in the broadest possible way, chronologically, geographically, and embracing comparative, global, and transnational perspectives. We run a packed programme of conferences, lectures, events for doctoral candidates, as well as teaching 2 year-long MA courses and supervising PhDs in the field, an increasing number of PhD researchers in the field. So please do visit the website, which I've illegibly put on the slide, and particularly have a look at the events page. Art Institutions and Race assembles an outstanding list of speakers to tackle questions of central importance through studies that cover the Atlantic world. Its concerns, range and methodologies are key to the Centre's ambitions. My thanks, therefore, to Nika Elder and Kate Roach, who were willing, first of all, to listen to my suggestion that they might convene an event for the Centre of American Art, and who then initiated and organised this conference and came up with something so wonderful. They've been perfection itself to work with. And thanks also to the team at the Courtauld Research Forum, and particularly to Jessica, Grace and Ingrid. I'm now going to turn to Nika and Kate to introduce the conference.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. We'd like to add to David's chorus of thanks and also give you a little bit of context for the conference. So first, the thank yous. We're grateful to David Peters Corbett for the invitation and opportunity to organize this event at the Courtauld. As we talk about the history of art institutions in the Atlantic world, it's fitting to do so here. In a few short years, the Courtauld will return to its home in Somerset House, which of course housed both the Naval Board and the Royal Academy into the early 19th century. At a time of deep academic precarity in the United States and our current location at a slight remove from Somerset House, we truly welcome this opportunity to reflect on our own relationships to art institutions today. We'd also like to offer our sincere thanks to Jessica Ackerman, Grace Williams, Lewis Chadwick, Maddie Harrison, and Heather, who work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure all runs smoothly today and tomorrow. Our gratitude, of course, to our speakers, many of whom have traveled great distances to be here today and tomorrow. And our most valuable player award goes to Esther Chadwick, who's participating in the proceedings in 2 capacities, both as a speaker and who has also organized our speaker's visit to the print room at the British Museum later today. Last but not least, and by way of transition to giving you all context for the weekend's proceedings, our sincere thanks to Imogen Hart of UC Berkeley. Together with David, Imogen organized a conference on British art and the global at Berkeley last fall, in which both Kate and I participated. That event enriched our thinking on our own projects, but also sparked a conversation between us about the ways in which arts institutions, broadly conceived, mediated the politics of empire in the Atlantic world, and the result of those conversations is this conference. Of course, scholars, many of them in this room, have done important work on several topics related to art institutions and race. In recent years, the field has devoted attention to the institution and visuality of slavery in the long 18th century, to collecting and empire as interrelated projects of knowledge and control, and to world's fairs, museums, and imperial discourse around 1851. The conversation taking place over the next 2 days builds on these insights, and in particular, the work of scholars who have shown that in the long 18th century, aesthetic theory was racial theory. Intellectuals used ideas about the production, possession, and perception of beauty to assert differences among humans. Our project in this event is to explore how this theory manifested or morphed in practice. In other words, how did art institutions throughout the Atlantic work as sites for codifying, promoting, and occasionally challenging these ideas? How did the cultural demands of differing empires and sites impact institutional structures and the work that emerged from them? And what local practices, theories, and circumstances shaped artistic production and reception in the so-called Atlantic world?
Thank you, Nika, and thank you to all of you for being here today on such a lovely, sunny day. It takes real moral fiber to decide to come in and sit in a dark room, so we very much appreciate you being here. And I also want to take a moment to thank Nika, because in just this fall, in September of 2018, David issued the invitation to us, and then I basically said to Nika, I dare you to plan a conference for May 2019, to which Nika said, I double dog dare you to do the same. And we're very glad to have brought you all here together today. I do want to flag up one theme of our conference, which is the capaciousness of the phrase art institution. So one thing we were keen to highlight is that this phrase can encompass museums and academies, certainly, but also commercial galleries, entrepreneurial ventures, philanthropic organizations, and publishing projects. Such endeavors were not only funded by imperialist expansion and the enslavement of human beings, but also operated according to the same cultural logics that justified these practices. And one theme that I'm increasingly interested in is the intimate relationship between the hierarchy of genres and the hierarchy of human beings that was being arranged and contested in that moment. So our talks today provide a rich survey and are organized loosely in chronological order. They span a wide range of sites, including Brazil, Britain, Jamaica, and Mexico, and include artist studios and academic classrooms, theaters and performance spaces, contemporary art exhibitions, and newly founded museums. And to give you just a small sample of what lies ahead, the subjects considered include watercolors made on a Jamaican plantation, an imaginary encounter between a Mohawk diplomat and a Polynesian traveler, representations of artist models of African descent in both Brazil and in Britain, and the construction and contestation of whiteness in portraits, contemporary history paintings, and landscapes exhibited in London. Many of the panels place different academic and Atlantic locales in dialogue, and we hope that this structure will bring out congruities and departures across regions and across empires. Now a bit of housekeeping. Each talk will run 20 minutes to ensure ample time for question and answer, and we do ask that you hold your questions until after the second paper. We also thought it was vital to the success of this event to provide ample coffee breaks. So we will have time there as well for additional conversation. And I did want to remind you that this is the first of 2 days, so I hope you'll join us back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. For a full day of panels. And with that, I will introduce our first speakers.